What if your greatest hero turned out to be someone society often overlooked? A single mom, balancing the weight of the world on her shoulders, unexpectedly saves a millionaire. Not by wealth, but by heart. This is the story of Emma, a resilient single mother, and Alexander, a once prosperous millionaire who had lost his way. They lived in two different worlds, but a twist of fate brought them together, leading to a transformation neither could have anticipated. Their journey is a testament to the power of compassion, hope, and resilience in the face of life's toughest challenges. We've all faced moments where life feels overwhelming, where we struggle to make sense of our purpose. Whether it's the weight of responsibility or the fear of failure, Emma and Alexander's story reminds us that even in our darkest moments, there's light to be found in unexpected places. Emma was no stranger to struggle. As a single mother, she had learned to juggle her responsibilities with grace, though it wasn't easy. Her day began at dawn, packing lunches for her 8-year-old daughter, Lily, before heading off to her two part-time jobs. One was as a cashier at a local grocery store, and the other as a freelance cleaner, scrubbing and organizing the homes of people who barely noticed her presence. Her most recent client was Alexander Whitmore, a reclusive millionaire. Once the toast of the city's elite, Alexander had built an empire in the tech industry. But success had come at a cost. After a series of poor investments and the betrayal of a trusted business partner, he had lost nearly everything: his company, his friends, and even his sense of self. Now, he spent his days locked away in his grand but lonely mansion, surrounded by relics of his past glory. Emma first arrived at Alexander's estate on a chilly November morning. The house was an architectural marvel: marble floors, sweeping staircases, and towering windows that framed the sprawling grounds. But the grandeur only served to highlight the emptiness within. The air was heavy, and the silence was almost oppressive. Alexander was initially cold and dismissive, treating Emma like an invisible cog in the wheel of his household. Emma, however, was unfazed. She had dealt with worse and wasn't about to let his gruff demeanor deter her. She focused on her work, humming softly as she moved through the house, her presence a quiet but persistent reminder that life went on, even in the face of despair. For Emma, working for Alexander was just another job, a means to provide for Lily. But she couldn't ignore the man's state of isolation. She noticed the untouched meals, the dusty bookshelves, and the unopened mail piling up on the counter. Alexander wasn't just battling financial ruin. He was grappling with a deeper, more personal loss: the sense of purpose that had once driven him. What Emma didn't realize was that her simple act of being present, her resilience and warmth, was already starting to crack the walls Alexander had built around himself. It started subtly. Emma would notice small signs of life returning to Alexander's mansion. On one occasion, she found him sitting by the fireplace, a book in hand, instead of his usual spot at the dining table with his phone. Another day, he complimented her cooking, a simple gesture, but one that felt monumental coming from a man who barely acknowledged her presence when she first arrived. Emma wasn't trying to fix Alexander. She had enough on her plate managing her own life. But her unshakable positivity and grounded perspective had a way of filling the silence with something new: hope. One evening, after Lily joined Emma at work because her babysitter canceled, Alexander's icy demeanor began to thaw. Watching Lily color at the kitchen table while chatting with her mother stirred something within him. "Your daughter seems happy," Alexander remarked. His voice carried a tinge of envy. "She is," Emma replied with a warm smile. "Happiness isn't about what you have. It's about appreciating what you've got." That simple statement lingered with Alexander long after Emma left for the day. But progress was far from linear. Alexander's mood was unpredictable, and there were days when his frustrations boiled over. On one such day, Emma accidentally knocked over a vase in his study, and he erupted. "Do you even know how much that cost?" he snapped. Emma stood her ground. "No, Mr. Whitmore, I don't. But I do know what it's like to lose things that matter far more." Her words stung, not because they were harsh, but because they were true. That night, Alexander sat in his study, staring at the broken vase, realizing it was a mere object compared to what he had truly lost: connections, trust, and purpose. For Emma, the obstacles were more practical: balancing work, Raising Lily and dealing with Alexander's volatile emotions stretched her thin. Yet, she refused to let it break her spirit. She reminded herself why she was there, to provide for her daughter and give her a better future. Slowly but surely, Emma and Alexander began to find a rhythm. Their conversations grew longer, moving beyond pleasantries to deeper topics. Emma spoke about her dreams of starting her own cleaning business, while Alexander opened up about his regrets and the people he had let down. One day, while dusting the piano in the living room, Emma hesitated. "Do you play?" she asked. "I used to," Alexander admitted. "A long time ago." "Well, why not now?" she challenged. Alexander shook his head. "What's the point?" Emma's reply was simple but profound. "Because it matters to you." That evening, the house was filled with music for the first time in years. Alexander's fingers were hesitant at first but soon found their way, and Emma smiled from the kitchen as the melodies spilled through the halls. The true turning point came on a rainy evening. Emma was finishing up her chores when the power went out in Alexander's mansion. The sudden darkness seemed to mirror the isolation and sadness that had enveloped his life for so long. Emma found him in his study, sitting motionless by the window, staring into the storm outside. At first, she thought he hadn't noticed her. But then, in a voice barely above a whisper, Alexander said, "Do you ever feel like you've lost everything that makes you you?" Emma hesitated, but her response came from the heart. "I do. When Lily's father left, I thought I'd lost everything. My dreams, my confidence, my future. But then I realized I hadn't lost me. I just had to rebuild." Her words broke through something deep within Alexander. He turned to face her, his eyes filled with a mix of anger, pain, and desperation. "How? How did you do it? How do you keep going?" Emma sat down across from him, unflinching. "Because Lily needed me to. And because I learned that life isn't about avoiding loss. It's about finding new reasons to move forward." That night, Alexander opened up for the first time. He spoke about his childhood, the pressure to succeed, and the betrayal that led to his downfall. Emma listened without judgment, her presence a steady anchor in the storm of his emotions. The conversation lingered long after the storm passed. For Alexander, it was as if a weight he had carried for years had finally been lifted. Emma, too, felt the shift. She had always seen glimpses of the man Alexander could be, but now, for the first time, she saw that he wanted to become that man again. For days after, Alexander seemed like a different person. He started engaging more with Emma, asking questions about her life, her dreams, and Lily. He even joined them for lunch one afternoon, an act that would have been unimaginable just weeks earlier. Alexander began to reframe his perspective. Instead of dwelling on what he had lost, he started thinking about what he could still do. Inspired by Emma's resilience, he decided to revive his passion for philanthropy. He had always wanted to give back, but had been too consumed by his career to act on it. When he shared this idea with Emma, she surprised him with her enthusiasm. "Why not start with something close to home?" she suggested. "There are so many single parents out there who need support. People like me who just need a chance." The idea took root. Together, they began planning a foundation aimed at helping single parents gain financial independence and access to resources. Alexander's connections and business acumen combined with Emma's lived experience created a powerful partnership. One evening, as they worked late into the night, Alexander looked at Emma with a newfound respect. "You've done more for me than anyone else ever has," he said quietly. "You've reminded me what it means to truly live." Emma smiled, her voice steady. "And you've shown me that it's never too late to dream bigger." With a shared vision, Emma and Alexander began to take action. Alexander, having learned from his mistakes, started applying his expertise to revitalize his life and the community he had once neglected. He sold some of his remaining assets to fund the foundation, and Emma, with her deep understanding of single-parent struggles, became the heart and soul of the project. They began small, hosting workshops on financial literacy, offering mentorship to struggling parents, and creating a network of support for those in need. Alexander's wealth and influence, combined with Emma's authenticity and insight, made their foundation stand out. But it wasn't just about providing resources. They were giving people something more intangible: hope. Emma worked tirelessly to ensure that no one felt alone or overlooked. Through her efforts, the foundation became a safe haven for countless parents who had nowhere else to turn. Despite the initial success, the road was not without challenges. As the foundation grew, so did the pressure. They faced criticism from some who believed that Alexander's past tarnished his credibility. Many questioned how a millionaire who had lost everything could truly understand the struggles of single parents. At first, Alexander was rattled. He wanted to prove to everyone that he had changed, that he could be more than just his past mistakes. But Emma reminded him that their focus wasn't on seeking validation. It was on doing the right thing. "People will always talk," Emma said one day, as they sat in the office late into the evening, preparing for another event. "But the work we're doing speaks for itself." Alexander took her words to heart. He stopped focusing on the external noise and instead leaned into the quiet satisfaction that came from knowing they were making a real difference. The foundation's success wasn't just measured in numbers. It was seen in the faces of the people they helped, in the families that began to thrive because of their efforts. With each milestone, Alexander's confidence grew. He started speaking at events, sharing his personal story of failure and redemption. He even began taking an active role in the daily operations of the foundation, spending time with the parents they helped and forging real connections with the people he once considered out of reach. Emma, too, grew in her confidence. Her leadership skills blossomed, and she began to envision a future where she not only supported single parents, but also empowered them to become leaders in their own right. She started offering personal coaching to the parents, helping them build careers and financial stability. As the foundation continued to flourish, so did their personal bond. Alexander and Emma had become more than just business partners. They were friends, mentors, and equals. Their shared purpose had strengthened their relationship and transformed both their lives. Months passed, and the foundation continued to grow in ways both Emma and Alexander had never imagined. Their impact was undeniable. The stories of parents who had once been struggling to make ends meet now running successful businesses, building strong, supportive communities, and regaining their confidence filled every corner of the foundation's operations. Alexander, once a man defined by his wealth, now found fulfillment in the difference he was making, while Emma had transformed from a hardworking single mother into an influential leader in her own right. The mansion, once a symbol of Alexander's isolation and downfall, had become a place of collaboration where dreams were nurtured and rebuilt. It was no longer just a home. It was a space where people came together to share their stories and find support. One day, as Emma looked out at the crowd gathered for one of the foundation's largest events yet, she saw the faces of individuals whose lives had been changed because of the work she and Alexander had done together. Her heart swelled with pride as she realized how far they had come, not just in terms of business, but in the way they had changed their own hearts and minds. The most profound lesson Emma and Alexander learned was that true wealth is measured by the impact you have on others. Both of them had come from places of loss. Emma, a single mother working 2 jobs, and Alexander, a millionaire who had lost it all. But through their journey, they discovered that no amount of money could replace the value of meaningful relationships, self-worth, and purpose. They also learned that change takes time, effort, and the courage to face uncomfortable truths. Alexander's transformation from a man consumed by his past to one who could look forward with hope and intention was nothing short of remarkable. And Emma's rise from a determined but overwhelmed single mother to a community leader was a testament to the strength that resides in every individual, no matter the circumstances. So, what about you? Have you ever found yourself caught in a cycle of self-doubt, wondering if you could ever turn your life around? Emma and Alexander's story proves that no matter where you start, transformation is possible. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about what you do with it when it comes. The path to fulfillment might not always be easy, but it's always worth it. Whether you're facing personal challenges or striving for something greater, take a step today toward the life you want to build. Your greatest triumphs might just lie on the other side of your most difficult struggles. Life is not measured by the material things we accumulate, but by the connections we form and the moments we create. Emma and Alexander's journey is a powerful reminder that even in the face of immense loss, we have the ability to rebuild, to grow, and to impact the lives of others in meaningful ways. As you reflect on their story, think about your own life. Are there areas where you've allowed past failures or fears to hold you back? What small step can you take today to move toward the life you've always dreamed of? Remember, it's never too late to begin again. True success isn't about the destination. It's about the journey, the growth, and the people we help along the way. So, embrace the journey, and always know that the best is yet to come.